Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Barbarian and this is Crusader Kings 3 and I'm rather excited for today's episode because everything that we have worked for so hard, everything is finally reaching the climax. The culmination is upon us and I'm of course talking about finally and genuinely taking up the mantle of being the sword and shield of the church. That is what we swore when we created the empire, we promised it, then of course we had the war against the Muslims in Iberia, but that is now over. We have safeguarded the Way of Saint Jacques, we have created a holy order, we have built or we are building a grand cathedral in Saint-Genian, and with that our attention can go into a different location. And you see the location, you see the victim of our attention right here. It is the Emperor of the Basileia Romaion, at least that is how he styles himself. We call him the King of the Greeks. It is Simeon, who rules from Constantinople and claims to be either an equal or a superior to us. No matter what he claims, we claim that he has no right to be called the Roman Emperor. We shall act against him in whatever way we can. Now in this case, we are acting in a very specific manner. I changed the color, by the way. It is slightly more blue than the last time when it was purple. I did notice that most of you did not like the red. I think we're in agreement there, so I was just able to change that back. But ultimately, what we are going to be doing here today is something very specific, because Emperor Philippe the Great obviously exists, and his empire exists to challenge the Basileia Romaion, but the challenge that we are going to bring to them today is a very, very important one. It's not just a territorial one, it's not just a secular one. No, today we will act against Prince Bishop Pankratios, because according to the law of this world, Prince Bishop Pankratios basically fills the role of the Exarch of Italy in the name of the Emperor, making it so that he puts us in a position where the Eastern Roman Empire completely disrespects the Pope. And unless we clear up this very disrespect, the Pope will, at the end of the day, be under the threat of being swept away by the power of the Eastern Church, of the Orthodox. And that, of course, is completely unacceptable. None of these heretics should be allowed, should be permitted in these lands. So, while we can't really touch these southern Italian lands of the Basileia Romaion, we are going to kick out an incredibly important part of what their geopolitical strategy here is. And speaking of geopolitical strategy, before we jump into this, before we start the war and so on, I just want to point something out here. There are two interesting things. First of all, let's start with this one right here. King Theoctistos of Polsko exists. He is the son and heir of the emperor, and he is married to Queen Judith of Polsko, who is a Karling. The reason for this is that Queen Zbislava married in a normal marriage, and he was slain in battle, she was slain in battle. Man, that is a rough family right there. But anyway, so basically the Karlings inherited this, and now that we have ousted the Karlings out of most of the positions that they held in Western Europe, all of a sudden it seems that they are cooperating with the Easterners. A country like Poland that we thought very safely, very firmly in the lap of the Catholic Church, all of a sudden at risk, and quite likely, I would say, to turn into an Orthodox stronghold. This is, of course, very much in line with the conflict that we have seen. The conversions that have occurred here, especially in the Slavic lands, have been a competition between Orthodox and largely Catholic settlers, well, missionaries, I should say, and this ultimately can then be seen even in a kingdom that we already firmly thought in the Catholic Church. So that is one of the interesting geopolitical moves done by Vasilev Simeon. We will respond to that in just a second, don't worry about it. The other one is that, oh boy, look at that. Holy war for the county of Rhodos. We see Emir Akli II, Ibn Akli of the half-seed emirate, attack Vasilev Simeon, and it does look as though he is incredibly inferior, but man, what a coincidence. He started this war 2 years ago. He wants to take Rhodos, obviously then controlling the entirety of all the entry points into the Aegean Sea, significantly weakening the Basileia Romaion whenever possible, but we don't really work together with the Muslims, quite the opposite actually. This is simply something that will coincide with our attack on the Basileia Romaion. In this moment of weakness that Vasilev Simeon is experiencing, we are going to drive our sword through his heart. My big hope here is that, when we destroy the armies of the Emperor, when we destroy his exarch, that this could essentially lead to a bit of a dissolution, maybe, even if they are weakened enough. And a dissolution is a big, big topic. That is actually something that I would like to explore, because we have two very important kingdoms. There used to be a third one, it is Armenia, but Armenia since became independent. They no longer pledge fealty, they even regularly, as you can see here, will declare war on their former liege. And I love that, because I would like to see more of this. Now, let's take a look at this, right? He's already married. He has a sister. Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily anything that we can do to win Cyprus for us to begin with here. At least not easily, it seems. But I did notice that Helados, Despotissa Barbara of Helados, comes from a fairly minor dynasty. I reckon... Yeah, she's almost the only one to hold titles to begin with, and the other people that hold titles actually just hold half of her kingdom. If we get Despotissa Barbara on our side, we would be in a position where we could quite possibly actually destroy the very core of the empire. Alright, listen, here's what we do. Can I arrange a marriage? We have Ordonio, our grandson. She would not accept this. Opinion of you can definitely still go higher up. Okay, wait a minute. I will send her a poem. I think I will send her a poem about legacy. I want her to know that working together with a real emperor and with the real Christian church will be good for her soul. And it did seem to work. The big question is this enough to make her want to? Oh, it is. Yeah, well, we went up here to 75 from 63, so we will get a patrilineal marriage between Ordonio Estefanie Boscarantia and Despotissa Barbara. And the way I want to interpret this is that basically we are offering her a hand in marriage for our family, for the empire, and should she ever get a funny idea of, for example, you know, rebelling against the Vasilevs, should that ever occur to her, we will be there. She does have a child already, but you can see that is a bastard. Let's hope that she has given up this lover. I believe she actually has, so that's quite nice. Ordonio, all I need from you is not convert to Orthodox. Now, that is not actually in his power. I hope that she won't convert him, but we'll see whether he falls to her influence. It is a geopolitical gamble that we're playing here, and I think that should be very clear to everybody. Now, I could transfer this count to Aribo II of Bar. And usually I would say I don't really want to get involved in who belongs to whom in France, because I want to simply respect the status quo up there. But Duke Aribo II, I am about to launch a faraway war, and I need you to serve in my armies. So I will grant you him, so that, you know, you're a plus 100. Here is what we are going to be doing when it comes to warfare, by the way, and this is very important to me. I thought about this for quite some time. Except for the following war, I will take the time as long as we are emperor of this empire. Once we become a smaller person, I don't think we need to bother with this, but as long as we are emperor of such a far-strung empire, we will go ahead and we will specifically select vassals that are close to wherever we are fighting when we declare a war. Let's say, for example, we start a minor war against Navarre for whatever reason. I will then favor all the people that have, you know, in Aquitaine, in Valencia, maybe in Brittany. I will favor all of them and leave them as knights. Whereas I will, for example, remove the Italians unless they're my marshals. I will remove the French up here unless they're my marshal, and so on as well. This is something that I would like to do, so that if we go to war over, for example, Iberia, and there's a chance that one of our knights may die, I want that knight to be somebody that makes sense, somebody that lives in this region, somebody whose family I could, for example, reward for this service, you know, in this instance. So that is something that I want to micromanage. I'm not going to do it for this war, because this is an empire-wide war. This is something where I will call upon everybody. I did also think about maybe only using local levies, but like dissolving levies that belong to a specific vassal is very annoying and basically impossible, so we're not going to be doing that. I just wanted to introduce you to this new house rule that we're going to be playing with. I will sometimes, for example, force Count Bouchard to not participate if the war simply doesn't occur in his vicinity. You can see, as the Emperor, you got enough knights anyway, even if the great ones might have to sit this one out. But yeah, we're going to be doing that in the future if we ever start any more wars. I could imprison a couple of people, let's not worry about that too much. I just want to check whether there's anything else here. We could negotiate some alliances. Yeah, that certainly doesn't hurt us, I should say, and then I'm not interested in any of those. We're not going to be creating any titles for the moment, at the very least. I don't think that is really relevant. Yeah, you know what? Let's just go in. I will be declaring war against Vasilev's Simeon right now. After, again, as I said, we wrote a poem, we actually, you know, created something here with the Way of St. James. We are now turning to our genuine purpose. The Duchy of Romagna will indeed be ours, and I will destroy the armies of Vasilev Simeon. Now, this also allows us now to call some people in. I'm not interested in calling in any of the faraway kings. I think that is just utterly ridiculous, but I'm very interested in calling in the Pope, because that is his war. And I think we should show that we are on one side. And I would love, actually, to call in the Serene Dogaressa Marietta, the Kind of Venezia. I would love this, because, so technically and legally speaking, you can see this here in the map as well, the Byzantine Empire, well, the Basileia Romayon claimed, you know, basically that Venezia was their vassal, and it is very difficult to determine when exactly it stopped being the vassal. In a contract between the Western Roman Empire and the Eastern Roman Empire in the Carolingian time, we can find that indeed Venezia is viewed as a part of the Basileia Romayon. Nonetheless, they acted fairly independent, but whenever, for example, a restriction would come into place of, hey, don't trade strategic goods with the Arabs, for example, Venezia would indeed observe that sort of thing. When they became independent historically is something that we can't really pinpoint without at least having some rival dates there. But in this scenario, in this world, I think it is official that Serene Dogaressa Marietta the Kind with this war is earning her independence, not just de facto but also de jure. I will call you into this, and together we will destroy basically the grip that the Basileia Romayon has over trade in the Adriatic, and then the Republic of Venezia can indeed do her very own thing. Now it's time to raise our troops here. I don't need all of the troops, I gotta tell you. I think that I can stop raising them once we have like 10,000 maybe. Right, she will join us here. It will also hopefully safeguard me from actually going bankrupt. I would like that a lot. That would be pretty good. Right, you're not of my dynasty, but Veronica died. You will inherit Martin Philippe's lands. And he married into his own dynasty. I see, yeah. House Anduze will indeed stay around. The Poitiers dynasty is a very old one, although, as you can see, not excessively successful, but I mean, not everybody can be, well, us, right? I gladly accept your marriage proposal, and there you go. I really hope that Despot Ordonio will not convert, but if he does, I mean, that is just family drama, isn't it? Is he loyal to us? Is he not loyal to us? Is he just faking it? It would basically be impossible to tell, and we are losing money now. Yeah, obviously I'm not going to raise any more. Let me just retrofit this army a bit here. Alright, I had to do some redesignating. I gotta tell you, man, it is difficult to really determine who should be in this army, you know, money-wise and such, because if you scroll down here and go, oh, you know what, I don't know, this troop might be a bit too expensive, for example, if it came from our own domain, it will reset you to up here. Very annoying, incredibly annoying. I hope that that gets addressed at some point. I will be leading this expedition myself. Again, I am not forbidding or forcing anybody here to be a knight in this war, because this is an empire tier war. We are, of course, going in as hard as we can, and we will fight them first and then siege Ravenna. What is this? A secret exposed? Oh, the wife of the former king of France cheated on him with Count Lothair, huh? She's a Wessex. Is she directly related to my wife? I mean, you know, closely related, I should say. I don't think she... Oh, she is actually. It's my wife's niece. Huh. Countess Nunila. I will imprison her for this, and I will ask for funds to purchase her freedom. Oh, they won't even pay any funds. I could negotiate a release here. Gaining a weak hook on her sounds quite impressive, but... Honestly, I'll just keep her in house arrest. House arrest isn't too terrible. Should my wife, you know, take pity on her, maybe I will release her, but right now I don't think it is, strictly speaking, necessary. Let's defeat them where they stand. Indeed, we will catch them here, and I foresee this to be a very, very easy battle. I can only hope that we aren't eating the penalty. Indeed, we're not eating the penalty for the recently disembarked troops here. We will be completely decimating them. If we're fast enough here, yeah, we will be fast enough, I think. This is a full wipe. Indeed, it is a full wipe. Wow. We even captured their commander. And with that, the armies of High Chieftain Eustachi of Masuri. Ah, he is one of the Orthodox right here, living in Prussia, of course. We have defeated a massive, massive army. Chieftain Gorjon of Pomejania also died. Where is your god now, my dear friend? You pledged yourself to the wrong Christianity. Sorry to tell you this. We did capture, again, the leader of that army. I don't think that is that vital. What is important here is that we completely decimated that army. Let me check this. Yeah, look at this. This also hugely helped the half-seats, no doubt about it. This is a glorious war, and it seems to me it is a fairly simple war as well. I will sell him back. Yeah, that is fine. Oh, and we could ally her. I could call her into this, I mean, but no, obviously we can't do that. We're naturally allied. I do hope that she might join like a revolution faction. She does like him, but if the king is weak enough, or if the emperor is weak enough, kings in this game have a tendency to just join factions against them. They do this because they are kings, right? They are to be respected. I do hope that indeed we can work something out there. Man, seeing the Eastern Roman Empire fall apart entirely would be so beautiful. We have a new inspiration here, or well, a new inspiration now that we have some funds. I'm not going to finance a chest. I'm not very interested in that. Wait a minute, what happened here? Duke Bermuda II. Oh man, this duchy will never be at peace, I think. He got imprisoned. The Countess Elisa. Is she taking it back again? Am I misremembering this? No, she was actually never in power here. I believe they must have fought over it. I think he attacked her fairly early on. And, I mean, obviously now she is taking back that title. There she is. I pray that Armagnac can be at peace, Duchess Elisa. You are excommunicated, aren't you? I don't want to blackmail her at all. I don't like having an excommunicated ruler in Armagnac. But that is an issue for once the war is over. Maybe we will do some internal remixing there. We shall see where that goes. We will support this siege indeed, and then we will, of course, aid Istria. I will not let Istria be taken by our enemies. I don't think Duke Bertrand II or his family deserve it. And he is under attack by a war for the tyranny. That is fairly trivial. I don't think that matters too much. Let's defeat them. And let's teach them a lesson. What is this? With suspicion, I took Borgonia out playing with a bow, and to my surprise, she ran into a wounded doe. She later lashed out at me, thinking I had staged the whole encounter as some kind of test. Very, very interesting that Borgonia de Hainaut would feel this way. I mean, we invited her to the royal court. We are treating her very differently from the other siblings of hers. You know, none of those actually spent this much time with the royal court right there. I think she might be a bit uncertain of her place in the world. In particular, maybe she's not vibing with Prince Nuno, as in, they don't understand that they have to be the firm ground that the empire can rest on. I mean, maybe it's a lot of responsibility that is just currently getting to her head. She's getting a bit paranoid. I will not tell her it was a test. He would not do that. He doesn't do tests like that. Come on. Show me that you could have felled an animal yourself. I like that. Yeah, this is what he would say. I absolutely believe so. And now, of course, that we are here, we shall indeed catch them and destroy them. Do you think we can wipe them here? I honestly doubt it, just because you are so far away. The papal troops are so far away, and we only have 12 days, but... Ooh, 5 days? No, it's not going to work. The royal court grandeur has decreased. Wait a minute. What is the target grandeur here, just for the record? It is 7. Okay, so we're gonna go up anyway. It just happens sometimes it, you know, goes... off a bit. Yeah, wow, we still decimated. Wait a minute. We almost wiped them. That was still a disastrous war. The Netrava dynasty here stands against us. Man, the alliances that they genuinely have with... Wow. I'm noticing this very clearly now. The campaign that the Vasilea Romayon has started is conversion of the Eastern Slavs, and the Western Slavs are indeed just being married into his house. Look at that. They're being connected. You know, this is not a matrilineal marriage, but it is an important one. Poland and Velka Morava is on the side of these fools. And it makes me wonder, maybe I can win over Queen Blažena of Horvatsko, just because it would be a strong regional alliance. We are basically investing in this on the premise of this basically being the path towards success. I think this could be a good marriage with Oria here, my granddaughter. She is the daughter of Alva, indeed. Wait, what? Oh my god. Oh my god. You see this so rarely. It actually took me a couple of... You know, I looked at this and I was very confused that the acceptance number didn't change. But then I realized something. Queen Blažena does not care whether the children that stem from Prince Godfroy are of her house, because they aren't. House Carling Raoul. From her point of view, this is already a foreign house to begin with. So we can have a matrilineal marriage here, and as we are trying to bind the East to us, it might actually be something that we would be doing. Oh my! She does not care about the matrilineal marriage because that isn't her family, and we are going towards equal rights in our culture. Yeah, no, I will reaffirm. I believe that this empire will stress matrilineal marriages as long as it does not touch the empire itself, where we, of course, still follow the male preference succession law. I will instigate this marriage with Croatia and hope that we can create some cooperation there. Let me just check this. Did any of ours take harm? Yes, we have a wound, but that is it. The war is going great indeed. Oh yeah, and you know what I forgot to mention? I forgot to mention that I redesigned the Order of St. Jacques. I actually did change the symbol. I took away the Imperial Cross as we're using it here, the Cairo, and instead we're using the Cross of Santiago. Of course, that makes quite a bit of sense. The red stands for the blood that will be shed in, you know, the defense of Santiago, and then the white, of course, for the innocence and the love of the actual, you know, Christian community right here. I really enjoy the Order of St. Jacques because it has, of course, it's central here. It's a central location. It has that in Narbonne, and I like that a lot just because it really binds them to the Empire as well. I hope that Grandmaster Yamino can be forming a very, very powerful order. So far, only 1,500 men are in it, but I'm saying this largely because I'm looking at it from an angle where the more holy orders we have and the stronger they are, the better will we fare in the eventual crusades. No idea when they will happen, but I mean, with how the AI deals with them, you do have to do everything in your power to actually, you know, try and get that done. The Holy Order gets hired again, that's fine. I think this war is effectively over. I haven't seen the troops of the Basileia Romayon yet. Let's just keep sieging and see what we can do from there. Oh. Pope Stephanus is dead. How did he die? Died of old age. Oh, Stephanus, if you were still with me, I know you would tell me to be strong. That things will get better. And you would be right, as you always were. But first I must curse and cry. How could I not when you are gone from this world? Pope Stephanus the Last. What does that nickname mean? What does that nickname mean? I would love you to tell me what you think they mean when they call him the Last. Why is he given that nickname? By the people of the world, by the Christians, by the Basileia Romayon? Huh. You will never be forgotten, old friend. You will never be forgotten indeed. I am overwhelmed by stress. Yeah, I mean, we are pushing through his will. We are achieving what indeed has to be achieved, but our best friend has passed. That is a day of tragedy. I'm happy that he could see us succeed here in taking Ravenna and actually sieging it down, but man, that is hardly something that we really appreciate here. After all, my friend Stephanus was always there for me. I didn't expect his death to be easy, but neither could I ever imagine it being this hard. He was always ready to cheer me up or help me out of a tight spot. With all my recent travels, his absence is especially notable. I think we're going to go with frozen grief. I don't think we could ever process this. Yes, we could become a drunkard, don't get me wrong here, and usually I decide, but, you know, I decide by rolling it out. But I have to tell you, everything that we have done, we did in the name of Pope Stephanus V the Last. We really, genuinely admired this man. He was somebody to look up to. Everybody in Christianity should take a good look at themselves, at Pope Stephanus, and realize that they have to emulate him should they want to be a good person. I will press on. Having never processed the death of a loved one, this character finds it harder to connect with others. Yeah. I think that is exactly what it is. We find it quite a bit harder. Now, here we have the defining battle of this war, I think. I mean, we've won a number of battles already. Oh, and this pulled the papacy out of the war. I understand. We won a number of battles as is already. But this one will indeed be it, because it is against the main forces of the Emperor of Constantinople. Let me just... Oh, they actually already won the war. Emir Akli II, Ibn Akli secured Rhodes, and that is just amazing. I sincerely love that. Obviously, he can't actually create this duchy, or rather, this duchy has already been created, but man, that is just actually lovely. Now, let's take a good look at this battle. Consumption. Oh, Prince Alva has lost consumption. Wonderful news indeed. Jesus be praised. Now, will this be an easy battle? No, absolutely not. But still, we have to do what we can, and he is in debt. Let's just see what we can do here, right? It's a very tight battle. The Venetians are, of course, going to arrive, but... Oh, and it is a tight one. This is a very difficult battle directly between the emperors. He actually showed up to the battlefield, I can't believe it, and even with the Venetians, I just need to appreciate this. Even without the Venetians, we would have succeeded in this battle. We would have won it. And let me just study this here. Yeah, look at that. Our light footmen perfectly counter both of these units right here, and then the cataphracts are at least somewhat countered, but with the reinforcements, I mean... He was what? Wait, what? He was decapacitated by one of his own? Am I reading this right? Bartholomeus Sortis killed the emperor. Obviously, we now have a new emperor, Vasilevs Teoktistos, who is the husband, as pointed out before, to the Queen of Poland. But wait a minute, what? And the Queen of Poland is now the last one to actually defend in this battle. I need to read this for sure. I don't think we can actually tell. Yeah, wow, no, we cannot tell why and how he was slain like that. I can only interpret this, and I'm gonna take the biggest shit-eating grin, forgive me for that, but the biggest shit-eating grin I'm going to announce that what just happened here is that one of his soldiers recognized that he, of course, if he loses this battle, isn't the real emperor, and so he betrayed him. Bartholomeus Sortis saw that as God's will. This may have been, see, I'm not sure, this may have been like a plot or something, but what an event. Certainly, what an event. I can't invite him to come to my court. I mean, I would reward this man. Bartholomeus, I would convert him, obviously, but wow. That is something else without a doubt. I am blown away. Beheaded by his own soldier. Jesus Christ. Let's catch them down here. Let's finish this war, I think. Oh, and look at that. Duke Payan of Champagne has passed away. Died at the age... Yeah, right, just old age. Fair enough. We're gonna take a look at that in a second. Right now, let's do professional workforce, yeah. We are going to be building quite a bit, I think, so that makes a lot of sense. And then, Champagne. The new Duke is Duke Thibaut. He doesn't want to be on the council. He seems to be quite happy. He comes from the Robertine line. Man, the Robertines are actually very influential. Look at this. Look at those numbers. Very, very close to, basically, they're not a single kingdom, but they certainly have the power as though they were kings. Let's hope that we have a good, relationship with Duke Thibaut. How is Duchess Ida doing? She's doing quite alright. Her daughter, of course, being brought up by Asia as well. I hope that she will be the good addition to our son Nuno once he takes over. We see some more troops coming, but I gotta tell you, I think it's over for you. And Duchess Adele of Brabant is declaring her love to me, huh? I gotta tell you, no. First of all, that was obviously like a bug right there, but no. I appreciate that. I'm the ideal knight, yada yada. I've done that bit quite a bit, I think, in the past. I understand why you would fall in love with me, but obviously, that is exactly what noble courtly love is all about. You can't have it. Now, I gotta tell you, wow, he actually also died here. And he was slain in battle by Count Bouchard. You know what, Count Bouchard, I will reward you for this. And I think I can do it right now, actually, now that I think about it. He slew the enemy commander, and he is a very respectable man, an honest, generous, gregarious man. I think, on this campaign, I will essentially name somebody that was a hero in battle, the Duke of Brittany. And once he returns home, he is officially the Duke of Brittany indeed. Yeah, very nice. I like that. I like to hand out some spoils even during the campaign if something happens. I wish... that the killer of the Emperor had been on our side. I would have rewarded this handsomely, but it is what it is. And there you have it, the war is over. Of course it is over, but man, basically a world war. They recruited everything to the north. That is unbelievable. How these Catholic kingdoms went against us. Great Morava and Polsko. It really has to be remembered what they just did. Now sadly, and this is very disappointing for me personally, we cannot hand over these counties to our friend Pope Stephanus, because Pope Stephanus has passed away, but we can at the very least hand them over to the new Pope, and that is of course what we are going to be doing here. Now let's take a look at this. So he basically says, I will pledge fealty to the Pope if you owe me a hook. And I will interpret this hook, because we won't keep his land, I will interpret this in a way where we are not ousting him. I think we could have been much, much harsher with him, and it would have been justified, but we will not be doing this. So that is basically the cost of him converting, and now I'm looking at this. Azna. Azna, no, probably won't give him anything, because Azna will be inheriting something sooner rather than later. Martin Lopé. The brother of Bermudo. He's excommunicated. No, I'm not giving you any land. Garcia is the son. Garcia would never get any land. I will give you Casentino. Absolutely. And then I will actually give you, to further demote the Archbishop there, I will grant you... Where is it? Am I blind? There it is. the Duchy of Romagna. I will grant this to you, and then I will grant you as a vassal to the Pope. And finally, Romagna, the gift that was given by Pepin, is entirely under the control of the Pope. Everything is right in the world. We have rewarded our greatest, our greatest supporter here, Duke Bouchard, who killed the enemy commander. Indeed, has been promoted to being the Duke of Brittany. And with that, hopefully the Breton people can stand together, get things done. Everything is quiet in Iberia. Very, very nice. The Basileia Romayon is as weak as it could be. Vasilevs Theoktistos in an incredibly difficult position. Let me check this. Oh, you actually like him, huh? Oh, Despot Tiberius, I don't like that. You don't like him. Did you convert my son yet? My grandson. Despot Ordonio, still very much Catholic. I gotta tell you, I hope that he stays Catholic and that... I mean, yeah, wow, wait a minute, look at that. We already have Catholic Gasconiera. Would you permit that they grow up here in my court? Yeah, the foreign court thing. We almost have it balanced out, but... not quite. I would really like to bring them up just so that we can guarantee that they at least remain Catholic. If they turn Greek, if they turn Hellenic, I think that would be fine. Anyway, that is something for the future. We just delivered the killing blow to the Imperial Eastern Roman ambitions in Italy. Obviously, yes, they still hold, southern Italy and such, but Western Christianity, the reason for this empire, has asserted itself. We are now in the position of the initiative. We can move first. We can move against Iberia. We can move against the Holy Land or into the Holy Land. We are in a position of strength. The geopolitical situation is very difficult. We are working together, of course, with... the Croatians. We are not working together, indeed, with Velika Morava or Polsko. Both of those have turned to the Basileia Romayon for whatever reason, but we are working quite well in our sphere here, and we are protecting it entirely. I love it. Let me just check the Holy Order here. He's already hired by whom? Petty King Geir. He is being attacked. So fair enough. This is a very, very important defense here for Christianity in the north. A bit odd, of course, that he actually goes up to help there, but I mean, what can you do? Tell me. He hasn't expanded at all yet. That is a bit disappointing, I have to admit. Well, anyway, what I want to do before I end this episode is actually I want to hold court. Why not, right? Let's hold court. Let's see whether there is maybe a theme to recognize. And I can already see a theme, actually. I need to make sure that I don't let this stuff go and get destroyed. Yeah, give me a second here. We're going to be holding court. These are family heirlooms. Obviously, I will repair them. What can we do here with the hold court decision? Let's hold court and see whether, some domestically, some issues emerge that might play a role in the next episode. Maybe not. I just like to take a look at this. Who do we have here? We have Duke Clotaire III of Savoy. We have Emily and Urraca. Are you pregnant, Emily? Urraca, I mean. No, she's not pregnant. What do these two unlanded ladies do here? And then Bellaskita, also unlanded. Interesting. A lot of women speaking here, and wait a minute, now I actually need to take a look before I even take a look at this petition. How far away are we from me being able to introduce equal rights? 17 months. That is the next episode then. I am excited for that. Did the bishopric already finish? 3 more years for the Cathedral of Saint-Geniard. Okay, fair enough. Now, let's take a look at this. My vassal, Duke Clotaire, stands before me, a concerned expression on his face. My lord, I come on behalf of my mother Solène, who has been ignobly imprisoned by Duke Casimir of Wieden for trivial and preposterous reasons. My heart bleeds for the miserable conditions which my poor mother must endure. Please, show her mercy and order her to be released. Your mother. She's a contrite, she's not a criminal, she is a torturer, I don't love that, but... okay, for how long have you been in prison, I must ask? She lost all of her holdings. Can I see in the biography mod for how long she has been imprisoned? I don't think I can see it, but I have to assume it was when she lost all her holdings. Man, that would mean it's been years, right? Let Solène be free. I gain a weak hook on Solène Carling and Duke Clotaire. She leaves the prison and Duke Casimir gets a bit angry about it. I mean, he's a good man. I trust Duke Casimir to have a good judgment. Casimir must have had a good reason to imprison her. I could see that. I just don't know what she could have done to be in this prison for so long. I will at least insist that she go to house arrest. See, I can't actually trace exactly what happened here. I'm not fully certain why he has her imprisoned. But from the distance, to our emperor. I do think he trusts Duke Casimir's judgment, and he at least will insist that she be treated humanely, but beyond that, it is in the hands of Duke Casimir. Now, what do we have here? An unusual case has reached my court. 2 women claim that a baby boy is theirs. None of the villagers can stand as witnesses, saying that it is as if the child appeared out of thin air. No one knows what the women were expecting or adopting. Nothing. The mystery has captivated the people, and while we may never know how this all happened, I must resolve this conundrum. What decision should I make for the future of this child? The youngest woman, as she has more of her life to raise the child. So we have a 34 and a 23-year-old. Directly, I do personally prefer Uraka, I think, as a person, despite her, of course, being cynical and such, but she just seems as like a better person. I will raise the boy as my own. Pelayo. Quite frankly, I can see that. Emperor Philippe the Great sees something that appears to be miraculous. None of these appear to actually have been pregnant. I think I might just raise him as my own. Every feudal vassal, minus 40 opinion. Oh, I would be considered the father. Oh, it would be an adoption. No, we can't do that. Okay, my apologies. We cannot do that. Like we could. Gameplay-wise, it wouldn't really change much for us, but I don't think that would be in character. I would take him into the Imperial household. I wouldn't actually, you know, go so far as adopt him. Yeah, Uraka. I will declare that you are the mother. This is for the better future of the child. Now, Bellaskita. Hold court, Saboyer out of control. They're hanging us, hounding us. We could keep order, my lord. Please, we can organize ourselves without all the death. A peasant woman from the county of Saboyer, an area plagued by unrest, held by my vassal Count Roubaud, assures me that control can be restored without undue bloodshed. Wait a minute, I need to study that, actually. Count Rabou. He's Duke Renault's... Okay, so he holds this county. Lackluster administration, no control, and I assume that as he lacks control, he sent in the absolute monsters, some mercenaries that he hired off the road and that are terrorizing the population. That's not good, though. That is very much not good. You tell Count Robot to lay off the noose for a bit. He loses opinion, but the control level goes up. You're right, what we need is excessive bloodshed. I don't think so. Here, do what you can with this. Yeah, actually, I will bring mercy in. Bellaskita, you have come here under all this pressure, and all the expectations of French society, and I will hear you. Let's try it. It's interesting. We had this woman come here. Bellaskita, if I could, yeah, actually... I will invite you to my court. I think Bellaskita will become my advisor as I reform Gasconiera culture, which it will literally be, by the way, in the next episode, to include women much more actively. I think Bellaskita would make a good advisor if she has the guts to come here and tell me about the difficulties in the French lands. I could advise, or I could be advised by her and potentially learn a thing or two that can help us administer our very own realm. Very interesting. Well, either way, this is it for this episode. Again, quite a bit happened, and geopolitically speaking, it should hopefully leave an impact. The question is whether Vasilevs Theoktistos here will see some trouble internally or not in the next years. As soon as he recovered the 9k, I think he's basically safe. But yeah, we'll see about that, and for the moment, I will leave you right here. Later, alligator.